Good morning. I hope everybody's doing good today. Been a couple of days for me. I've had some interesting rides. I'm not really sure how this is going to come out this morning. It's like minus 16, hence the hoodie, covered with snow. Woke up to quite a few inches of new snow, so that was kind of cool. It doesn't matter how many times it snows or for how long it is. Every time the snow falls, I just love it. So there's a couple of things I wanted to bring to the table today, and I'm not really sure how they're all going to unfold. But I will start with the first thing that was on my heart, and it was something that I came across yesterday in perfect timely fashion for myself. I had something happen, which maybe I will share it with you. 68. Am I on the right page? Yes, I am. Okay, I'm already there. Very good. Okay, don't go to sleep on me, computer. Sorry, my computer's on too while I'm doing this, but I need the light. It helps me see. Anyways, this is about worship. And for some reason, one of the things that I always struggled with when I was a Christian, and believe me, I felt terrible about it. All that time I felt terrible because I didn't feel comfortable with the word worship or this thing that we did. I mean, I love singing. I love singing to my Father because I love Him. But this whole thing about telling Him how wonderful He is and how incredible He is and just pouring all this verbal praise, as it were, you know, to Him, and I felt terrible. I thought, oh, I must have some kind of serious evil going on in my head to be thinking this. All along, it was my spirit trying to say, hey, excuse me, but that's not right. So I came across something, and it was amazing to me, and I was actually able to exercise this in its fullness yesterday, which was really wonderful. I was ministering to a particular individual who I will remain nameless, but and I got to take part in what the Christ says is the purest form of worship, and that's what I'm going to share with you today to start with. Okay? The ego and the spirit do not know each other. The separated mind cannot maintain the separated except by disassociating. Having done this, it denies all truly natural impulses, not because the ego is a separate thing, but because you want to believe that you are. The ego is a device for maintaining this belief, but it is still only your decision to use this device that enables it to endure. I am teaching you to associate misery with the ego and joy with the spirit. That was something that really popped out at me, and it's not really exactly part of this, but I'm just reading along and I saw that I highlighted it. Because we learn to associate joy with the ego. We're taught to, because this ego needs to stay in place for the powers that be, right? So that's important. I'll just let you kind of ponder on that. You think about that and see what that means to you. This is about what it is to be us. This is about our interaction with each other and with the Father. Your mission is very simple. You are asked to live as so to demonstrate that you are not an ego, and I do not choose God's channels wrongly, which I shared this once before in another video about something else, but today it's speaking to this topic. The Holy One shares my trust and accepts my atonement decisions because I myself know His will and am never out of accord with it. I have said before that I am in the charge of atonement, and this is the Christ speaking, of course. This is only because I am completed, and I have done this in my part as a man, and can now complete it through others. My chosen channels cannot fail, because I will lend them my strength as long as theirs is wanting. You want the strength of Christ? It's already yours, so it's coming to you at that very moment. I will go with you to the Holy One, and through my perception, He can bridge that little gap. That little gap. I don't know what that little gap is for you today, but that little gap for me was this difficulty with the word worship and the whole idea of it. It never sat right with me. It's not that there's anything wrong with worshiping the Father. It's how we were indoctrinated to do it that is the problem. Your gratitude to your brother is the only gift I need. I will bring it to God for you, knowing that to know your brother is to know God. If you are grateful to your brother, you are grateful to God for what He created. Through your gratitude, you come to know your brother, and and one moment, a real recognition makes everyone your brother because each of them is your father. Love does not conquer all things, but it does set all things right. There's a big difference between conquering and setting things right. Now I'm going to try to find here, I highlighted it somewhere, and I don't know where it is because I read it. It was probably before this, where it's stated in here, and I'm not going to try to find it because it'll take me too long, and then I'll make this video too long, and I don't want to do that. I read in this script, which you go through the Course in Miracles, you'll find it, that the Father has no place for you to tell him he's wonderful or cool or magnificent or whatever. He doesn't have an ego. There is no ego there. So for you to sit there and spend 45 minutes before church service telling him how beautiful and wonderful and perfect and incredible he is and worshiping him in this abject sense, it just never fit right with me. There's no place for it to go. Now, it's true that he whispered to me very quietly yesterday that if your heart is towards him in desire to do this thing in the right way, then of course he receives that, because he can always receive your heart. That has nothing to do with ego. That's your spirit. So don't, begrudge yourself all those years spending that time in worship if your heart was true. If you in fact did do that. I know some haven't, but I know worship was huge to me. I couldn't even function until I spent time, and I was having a big battle yesterday, big struggle. I mean, you have no idea. It was crazy. I got some information on top of many other loads of information. There was like 5 things set on my plate to try to tell these new truths that I've discovered. And the 5th one was the one that just kind of sent me and loaded with some, some hormonal imbalances and some physical things. I kind of cracked. But in that cracking, I discovered something that was a beneficial truth that I will be speaking about in a minute, because I've got something to share with you about this other thing that has to do with the Mandela effect. So I'll share that in a minute. But it's a foundation that I'm going to be putting in my truth box. It's sticking there. It's staying. It's stained in the inside of my empty cup. It's not going anywhere. And I learned that yesterday for myself. I'm going to be doing a feature on this in a couple of weeks, or however long it takes. It may not take me that long, about the specific type of gifting that some people have, like my own. I have discovered one other person who benefited greatly from these informations that the Father has given me, and so I'm going to kind of go off into that direction. But today I wanted to talk about this worship thing. So the highest, and in here it said the highest form of praise that you can give your Father is to give what he gives you to your brother. And so I think that's one of the reasons why the Discord room feels the way that it does, why this whole thing is taking on the shape that it is, because that's what we're doing with each other. The highest praise to the Creator is giving to your brother. So, I mean, we're just doing it. And so it was just really wonderful. That was something, especially since we're all going to be possibly, or I'm going to say we, that was the 5th thing that I discovered, is it's a no-go for me going on the Hopi trip. And I had a strong desire for that. And it involved another person, and it involved some things that I chased after with, fervency in my heart. It turned out that that wasn't going to happen. It's a no. And that was something that I walked through yesterday. Came out the other side of it completely at peace, totally thrilled, happy that I went through that whole grueling process and thought it was coming out one way, and it came out another way because it taught me something significant about myself, which in another video I'm going to start teaching about this significant gift, this significant place, this significant vessel that God has made in me, and I know there are others, to help you to understand why it is you do what you do and how to navigate it without losing your mind. But anyway, so there was that, and then the second thing I wanted to touch on, and I talked about it a little bit, is I watched Jacob Israel the other day, and he was speaking about the Mandela effect and how things are just disappearing. I myself have witnessed this with my own eyes, in my own home, in my own life. I've looked and saw something and went, wait a minute, that wasn't like that before. So I know this is happening, and it's going to happen more and more. And we really, really, really need to start imprinting these truths that are sticking in our cups. When we empty them, they come back in our hearts, because there's going to come a time when not only are we not going to have technology, and we're not going to be able to, have all these great resources, we're not be resting like Derek said yesterday, but also we're going to have these little lines being stripped from our reality. It's just that they're just going to disappear and change, and we're not going to have them anymore. So Anyways, I'm sorry I looked up there. I just got an indicator on my phone. Kind of threw me off. Yeah, I kind of have that squirrel effect. But anyways, so I wanted to share with you how important it is that these truths that you do discover, when you know it's one of the foundational truths that will hold you up and you'll never let go of, you need to find a way to solidify it in your heart. And this is my special book here. It's crazy because I bought it years ago. Had no idea the significance of this journal book. It's the designs on it, where they come from, all the things that we've been talking about. There's even some numerology in here, which I said in the chat room the other day. I forgot about this. That numbers don't ever, like, they're not my kind of my communication mechanism. But this book, I bought it years ago, well before my awakening, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm going to read it in the dark here. But there are some significant numbers in here, and what I really love is that there's 144 pages in this book. When I saw that, I bought this book blind as a bat. I bought it out of a visual desire because I loved the way it looked. I just love this look. And the way it's written, who it's written by, who the people are that put this out, I'll share that maybe another day, but that was huge. And so this is my special book. This is where I keep all my real, if there was a fire, I'd grab my baby and I'd grab this and I'd run out the house. And if I don't have this though, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's what I would do. That's how important this is, because I put everything in here that I could use to move forward. But what if this got burned up? What if it got taken? You have to have these things solidified in your heart. And I am also a very cryptic person, as Derek has said that he is, in the fact that I'm an artist. So I draw everything. I love to draw. And, those things mean something to me. And when I heard him say that, symbols can never be, that you can't destroy them, you can't take them away, you can't read into them, they are what they are. I knew immediately that I needed to come up with a symbol to burn into my heart and into my mind. And I've worked on a couple different symbols. And I think this bottom one probably is the closest one to what I'm going to keep. It's a little elaborate, but it has all the truths in there for myself, and I'll just let you see that. And hopefully Derek will watch this one, because I'd be interested in his input on this image. Now, there is something now that I just learned that I have to add to it, so I'm going to have to draw it again. But what I do is I look at this thing every day. I look at it, I stare at it, I burn it into my mind, so that when that image comes up in my mind, if I'm ever trapped in a situation where I just know I'm hammered, and I'm at that place where you just feel like you wish you could watch a video, or you wish you could reach out to your brother, I'm going to be able to go in there, I'll close my eyes, I'll see that image, and I'll remember the keys of truth, and immediately I'll be able to handle the situation, because that's the power that we have, right? I think that that's it for today. There's a lot of things going on right now, so many things, and I'm going to be doing a lot more. I've been distracted by some things that I've had to learn, and they're fantastic. And I mean, that it's an amazing thing when you have all your hopes and all of your heart, especially when you're someone like me. And if anybody is an empath and they understand their heart, that's everything. It's like your life, your whole breath is wrapped up in a desire for something, and then you get told very clearly that that's not going to happen, and you're not only at peace about it, but you're skipping through the house giggling at the wonderful process the Father uses to bring all of this about. And there's a person out there who knows what I'm talking about, because it was him that it touched, and it opened my eyes that there's a group of people out there that I'm meant to reach. And it's kind of honed down what my focus is on. I know that I'm supposed to reach people with stuff, but now, after having that information shared yesterday and seeing the impact of it, I know that this is being, purified down to a specific group of people with a specific set of gifting. So, anyways, I'm looking at 14 minutes. Yeah, I can't seem to get away from a video. It has to be at least 14 minutes. It seems like. I don't know if any of this is helpful or not. It just, why is it that every time I sit down to do this, when I'm almost done, it just feels like I didn't accomplish anything. I'm like, you just rambled. You didn't make any good points. You didn't, but I'm sure there's a reason why my flesh tries to make me think that. But anyways, I love you guys, and I'm going to be working on this other stuff, and hopefully I'll be putting it out within the next couple of days. I'm also thinking too, because I get little tiny things every day, and they may be really small, but they could be very significant. And I think I'm going to start doing, a little Canadian coffee show in the morning, somewhat like, you know, our brother Jeff, who does his little morning mantra. I come up with something just that's a few minutes, just very short, under 10 minutes, and just, yeah, touch base with some things. Because as I go through this journey, I know that I'm a vessel to be poured out. I know that. I've always known that. So I'm going to do that. So I'm working on some things, okay? Definitely watch Jacob Israel's video on the Mandela effect. There's some really good information in there to keep your eyes open, and burn that truth into your hearts, loved ones. Burn it in there, because no one can take it from there. I love you, and you have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll be seeing you in chat. Bye.